Hello and welcome to our course overview lecture. So what am I going to be discussing today? Well, first of all, I'm going to discuss our course goals. After that, we're going to talk about prerequisites and requirements for the course. And then lastly, we're going to talk about the course outline itself. So we're going to go into detail in regards to all the different topics we're going to cover in the class. So let's go ahead and get started. And let's go ahead and talk about the course goals. So we have 4 course goals, and these are the 4 right here. The first one is to provide you an overview of essential no-limit HoldEm mathematics. So I'm going to teach you the basic fundamental concepts of no-limit HoldEm mathematics. After that, I want you to really be able to understand this information that I'm teaching you, and then take that information and utilize it into your poker game with the end goal of you using math in your poker game to improve your overall poker game and win rate. And I have that here highlighting it. At the bottom, we're just starting out learning the basics. Over time, the goal is to have you really understand the concepts I'm teaching in this course. And then once you understand these concepts, you can take them and utilize them at the poker table. And as you start to utilize more and more mathematical concepts at the poker table, you're going to see that over time you're improving your poker game. So that's the whole goal with that, is that we want to take this knowledge and information that I'm teaching you here and implement poker mathematics into your no-limit Hold'em game to improve your game over time. So let's talk about our prerequisites, and there are 3 prerequisites here that I have listed. The first one is a basic understanding of no-limit Hold'em. If you don't have a basic understanding of the game, if you're brand new to it, just take a step back from this course and go ahead and do some reading and some learning on the basic rules and structure of the game, because if you don't understand that, you're not going to get much out of this class. The second prerequisite is a basic mathematic abilities that I think everybody here that's taking this class is going to have. So I'm talking about addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, and also some basic algebraic skills. Nothing more than that. So if you understand that, you're going to be fine. And then lastly, a desire to become a winning poker player, because somebody that desires to improve their poker game is really just going to soak up this information a lot more than somebody that really just isn't as desired to improve their game. Now let's talk about our prerequisites, and we only have one for this course, and it's really not a hard prerequisite, but it's for those of you that really want to follow along. What I'll be doing in the course when we're going over some mathematical equations and calculating possibly odds and equities, I'm going to be looking at using this software here, which is called PokerStrategy.com's Equilab software. And what it does, it allows you to visualize poker ranges and poker equities, and what you can do is you can input information and it's going to go ahead and calculate that on the fly and output that information in a matter of seconds. So if you want to follow along and you want to do it yourself, go ahead and download and install the software. It's free. If you just want to follow along and watch me on the screen and not download it, then that's fine as well. But I do recommend this software for all online poker players, and what you'll notice is that people talk about this or PokerStove a lot in the online forums, and you'll see people talking about these as well in poker training videos. Not only am I talking about in this course, but a lot of different people talk about using Equilab, PokerStove, or some other software suites such as Flopzilla. So now let's go ahead and talk about our course outline. So we have a fairly lengthy outline, total of 14 different topics that we're going to cover. Well, actually 14 different sections. Some of them only cover one topic, some of them cover multiple topics. What we're doing here now is talking about our course introduction. Once we're done with this section, we're going to jump into our essential topics, where I'm talking about the importance of mathematics in poker, why we need to learn math in poker, and why it's so important to the game, and then some underlying essential topics that I want to cover before we get into the mathematics of poker. After that, we're going to be discussing basic probability and odds, so you need to understand what the concept of probability and odds are, because that's essential to mathematics as well when we're talking about no-limit Hold'em. After we talk about that, we're going to be breaking into the concept of understanding equity, which is also known as pot equity. So if that's new to you, you'll be learning something definitely new when we're talking about equity, but it's commonly discussed when we're talking about poker. For section 5, we're going to talk about both pot odds and implied odds and do some exercises to practice calculating pot odds and looking at implied odds. Section 6, we're going to look at counting outs. So when you have a draw in hand, the amount of cards that will help you improve your hand or consider your outs. So we're going to look at draws and counting our outs, do some exercises on those as well. Section 7, we're going to look at the rule of 2 and 4. And what this is an easy shortcut rule to quickly estimating your equity in a poker hand on the fly when you're playing. So then we're going to look at that and do some exercises on that in Section 7. Section 8, we're going to introduce the concept of expected value. Section 9, we're going to look at all these different topics we talked about in Section 3 through Section 7 and apply those in spots where we have a drawing hand and we have to make a call, and we'll be determined if we can make profitable call or an unprofitable call in certain spots. Section 10, we're going to be talking about betting with the best hand. So we're going to talk about the mathematics behind our bet sizing using board textures and drawing equities, and we'll be doing some exercises on that as well. Section 11, we're going to talk about the concept of semi-bluffing. So we're going to talk about why and when we should semi-bluff. We'll talk about the mathematics behind it based upon our equities, and specifically we're going to be talking about all-in equities. Section 12, we're going to be talking about EV calculations. We'll be doing some exercises behind that, and we're just going to be talking about really basic EV calculations. That may not make sense right now, but once I introduce the concept of EV, it'll make sense once we break into doing our EV calculations. Section 13, I'm going to be introducing the concept of card combinations. So for those of you that are interested, this is not 100% necessary for this course, but I highly recommend it. I'm going to introduce the concept of card combinations, and that'll be good in regards to when you're doing off-the-table analysis after the fact. And then lastly, we're going to be talking about our conclusion. So we'll be summing up on the course. I'll be talking about everything that we covered in the course and what you should have learned, and hopefully what you've taken to the poker table to improve your game. And then we'll talk about what's next. So where should you go from here? So that's going to sum up this course, and as you can see, like I said, there's lots of different topics that we're talking about. A total of 14 different sections, and in regards to the number of topics, probably close to 19 or 20 different topics in general. It may look a bit daunting right now, but once we get into it, it's all going to start to make sense. So that's going to go ahead and conclude this lecture. We'll go ahead and see you at the next lecture, and if you have any questions, as usual, in regards to any of my lectures, please post them on the discussion board, and I'll be happy to answer them.